Hey, Boo Boo Nation. So that was a very interesting video, and I found myself really agreeing with you throughout it. So it's funny that the end conclusion is that you don't agree with me. I'm not sure you really get it. There's an emotional aspect here that seems to block. People keep ignoring certain facts about the compassion. They argue that we should have compassion for the guy that opts out of this system and pretend he opted in and basically carry that cost for him and everybody else. A 2,500 person city is supposed to do that for the 20,000 people that have no fire protection, I guess. I don't know how far away uh, the cities have to be before they don't have that obligation in everybody's mind. Um, but the issue with the insurance that people don't seem to get, because there's two kinds of insurance. We're kind of talking about this fire fee, which is like an insurance, but not literally. It's a service arrangement. But uh, the issue with insurance, you see, is that the fire department is insured. You know, in case one of the firefighters has smoke inhalation, breaks their leg, gets burned, you know, the rest of it. They're not covered when they fight the fires for people that didn't opt in. So this is the issue: is the complications of our system and the problems we face. Now, I believe in people's right to make their own mistakes, but I do want them to learn from their mistakes. If I lived in that county, having countywide fire protection would definitely be a local issue that I would be advocating for. I think it's ridiculous to have opt in on fire, police, or for that matter, education, health. I think these are social infrastructures properly done. But the question is about the systematics of this situation. You have people that ardently, consciously do not want the fire protection, take that as their freedom, but don't want to take responsibility. And the fire department has protected many houses like this. But it doesn't make a story. We're not changing the system. The system remains screwed up, and these holes where some people's houses are going to burn down, um, are going to exist, and that's going to happen. It's a matter of statistics. When you refuse to join together and have an actual system funded well enough to protect those 20,000 people, but you expect it to happen anyway, you're just depleting the resources and making this security infrastructure of fire in South Fulton unsustainable. Now, there's a city, and they are not responsible for putting out the cities all over the fire in cities all over Tennessee. It is the local fire department, and I do not support the system. It is brain dead, and that's what has to change. Now, if we just allow the I hate tax type of conservatism to run the day, and they always make these arguments, these individualistic arguments, which loosely I agree with people's right to make their own mistakes and to not band in a collective if they don't want, and depending on the circumstance, really. But in principle, I mean, I could kind of see that, but they make those arguments, and when their house isn't burning down, you just can't convince them. They're like, I do everything myself, and then their house burns down, and suddenly it's different. And if this was how South Fulton did things within their city limits, I would agree. I would say no, this is not appropriate, not smart. But see, they don't, because people are well aware of the, you know. When they first did the first fire departments, like in London, they were like, this is a private company, and the problem was that you're covered, but your neighbor's not. And by the time they respond to your house is on fire, and you would rather have something preventative. This is the logic that shows this has to be a social service, a universally provided service, and some people don't get that, and they're very, very virulent, and I mean, it's just insane. They say we're robbing them when we want to take taxes for a service like this. And how are you going to break down that systematic situation? By imposing what you want anyway, and how, you can't. They can't take taxes. The city can't collect taxes from the county. Now, they've done a study that it would take like 0.1% property tax raise in the county to get fire protection to everybody. They didn't want to do that, and if they and now they are. Now they're going to do it. You can bet your ass they're going to do it now. And and people are just so illogical. Like they could have just turned the hoses. Hey, when they did show up, the house was lost. The house had been burning 2 hours. It was lost. Okay, letting it burn to the ground made it cheaper to demolish at that point. And so we're saying, but they should have gone out right away. Well, that would be nice. That would be nice. But people are talking about community, and their community is the town of South Fulton, you know. And the criminals here, the negligent ones, are the county. You know, perhaps the county could be sued because the county has the ability to levy some taxes and ensure that there's fire protection. Not only have they not done it, but is very consciously, you can see the proceedings in their local politics, they've consciously decided to do that. And in fact, there have been county referendums, evidently, where people got to vote on these issues, and they, as the people, as the voters, have also supported that. Now, I do not think that the compassionate people, such as volunteer firefighters, need to risk their lives, with the reward being that their fire protection system would be unsustainable. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that I think that this is the way the system should work. No, I think this proves that the system should not work this way. And I think that carrying them along, letting them pay the fees after, and things like this, yeah, they've done that a bunch. But it can't be done every time. And statistically, it's just not going to work that way if this is how you protect, if this is the spotty kind of fire protection uh, that you allow, that you allow. Okay. So, you know, there are decisions made here. The people that decided to make a fire department and extend that service beyond their city limits are not the ones to blame for this. They're the only ones that ever put out the fires in that area. They are to be blamed. They are to be blamed for nothing. They are to be given credit for fighting fires. And the problem is that they have to overextend themselves because that's a town of 2,500 people surrounded in a county with 19,000 people that don't have fire protection. And the idea that they are obligated to risk their volunteer firefighters and their resources to protect people just because they exist, people that didn't pay, when the local government has insisted that that's the system, that we're not going to make you pay, it's an option, that's your freedom, we gave you that freedom, and then people are going to go not pay. And you know, there's some evidence that, okay, these people did usually pay and they really did forget because they were traveling. I'm sorry, but I think it does make sense to bring up that they would not expect a private organization to do charity work. They're libertarians and objectivists, and they don't believe in that. So you know, this is what they get. I'm sorry, this is how it works when you set up your system like that. And to say, well, no, you know, firefighters, they should be angels and heroes every time. They should risk their lives and the livelihood of their families and people that might lose them and the medical costs. They should risk that out of their compassion. You're saying some guy could go ahead and forget to pay $75, and he should not have to pay any price for that. The person that should pay the price is the firefighter that's risking his life. I mean, if a firefighter goes and fights something with no insurance, you know, that insurance is going to save their life anyway. It is going to help them not get burnt. It's just going to be somewhat of a safety net so that the risk that they're taking has at least some safety net. They might be dead, but at least there would be an insurance payout for their families so that they don't have to all starve. You think that would be great? No, that would be a tragedy still. So they're giving of themselves greatly, even when they are protected by insurance. You know, uh, if somebody wants to say that they should uh, do this anyway, then somebody needs to figure out a way that the insurance company would have to cover the fire department no matter where they went. So make that a law. But you've left the fire departments in this local county out on a limb, and they're supposed to just supposed to handle it themselves. They're supposed to give all of themselves. 2,500 people in a little rural town. They can't afford the $1 million settlement that you know, a firefighter might deserve, if, you know, or his family might deserve, and so you know, and this guy said, "I'll pay anything." Really? I mean, how do you know that? I mean, in your house is probably still going to be burned. A fire burning for a half an hour even is going to gut your house, and he's going to pay. Really, you sure?